Okay.
So after 6 years, David, isn't it? I think
Yes.
6 years. We're back in the garden at David's lovely house in Sussex, sitting by the swimming pool. The weather hasn't been quite as kind to us this time as it was last time round, but it's time to have a recap and talk about oh, such wonderful things that have happened over the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. The last time that we were here, it was a gloriously sunny day, which it should be really at this time of the year, but unfortunately, it's actually quite cold. But as you can see, we've been joined by Amber, who is a totally faithless bitch, my dog, and she's gone to you. It's only been here 5 minutes. Look.
Well, there we are.
She
I
wants to.
called her a showbiz tart. It
She
didn't go
should
down
show
too
this
well.
tart, Amber.
But there we go. David, I'll let you. Uh,
Well, it's been since I saw you last.
yeah,
It's been a fabulous time, really, because we had lockdown, which of course was awful for everybody. And at the time of lockdown, it really appeared that almost my career was over. Everything was being cancelled left, right, and centre. And then out of the blue, I had a call from David Lloyd at Boom Radio. Well, it wasn't then Boom Radio, but he said, we're setting up a new radio station. Would you like to be part of it? He said, everybody's broadcasting from home. And I said, well, I don't have a home studio. So he said, we'll build you one. So they gave me a microphone and headphones, and all the music is on computer. And just across the way in the house there, I started off actually in the shed in the garden, and then in the winter time it was a bit taters really, so I moved indoors. I'll show you the studio later, but so I broadcast every day from home, and Boom has been such an incredible success. We've in the last 3 months prior to us meeting now, we've put on 50,000 listeners, and we've got about 300,000 listeners. Bearing in mind we've only been on the air for a year, and we've overtaken a lot of stations that have been around for a very long time. And they're such nice people to work for. If this is my last gig, it's going to be a great way to finish.
well, let's hope that it isn't.
I hope not, yeah.
From David Hamilton's Hotshots point of view, well, we've had over 2,500 posts in that time. We've built up. I know you thought if we had 100 members to start with, we'd be doing well.
Yeah.
We've now built up to 1,200 members, and the membership grows every day, with a lot of great interaction from everybody who's involved. So it's great to see things moving forward, and moving forward along with David's association with Boom Radio, and such a success story that is.
Yeah, I must say a big thank you to Noel for keeping the Hotshots going for such a long time. He has to work. I understand that. You've got your horse racing commitments, and following your the sport that you have such a passion for, that your father was very much involved with. I also want to thank Andy Walmsley very much for his contributions to Hamilton's Hotshots. Andy, thank you so much. And I know sometimes I don't think there has been a day when you haven't had a recording of the show.
No, we haven't missed a single recording, and again we have Andy and also a gentleman called Dave Hall, who's been wonderful. I've been able to phone him up 20 minutes after I've realised that my equipment has failed me yet again. Brian Griggs, damn boy, and and he's, I don't know where he gets it from, but he finds a recording and he sends it on through to me. And last week I was away racing, and Andy recorded the show, and he does a beautiful edit on it, which I'm afraid I don't have time to do. But I do put a lot of claptrap and rubbish in there, which some people say they enjoy reading. So yeah, it's all good.
I think they do. I think we want to thank everybody for their help, and it's the only place that you can hear the show again, because there is no playback. Boom don't have any playback system, so if anybody misses the show, it's the only way that they can hear it. But it's not just the show that's on there, it's all the other stuff that you get as well. I mean, the other day you came up with something that I had done for Fulham when they were promoted. They were in the playoffs at Wembley, and they beat Aston Villa. And there are things that go on there I've actually forgotten about, and I look at them and think, crikey, yes, I remember that now. So it really has been wonderful. I just can't thank you enough, for keeping it going, and hopefully we'll keep it going a bit longer.
Well, the other thing is that it's always worth checking up on the media. If you click into the group and then click on media, you'll find that recording that David was talking about, plus the time when his scrapbooks for Charlton.
Yeah.
Who was the player?
Sam Bartram,
Sam Bartram,
who was
yeah.
the legendary Charlton goalkeeper, whose
Mm.
statue is outside the ground
Yeah,
at the Valley.
yeah.
And his daughter flew over from Canada and gave me the scrapbooks of his career that I kept when I was a boy.
Yeah, it was an incredible story, and it
Yeah.
went out on the news.
Yeah.
And then there's some early black and white recordings from there. There's a little bit of Doddy's music box. And
Yes.
was it called the Music Room, the Time Tease show?
Rehearsal
The
room.
rehearsal room, yeah.
Yeah,
with the
somebody
animals.
mentioned that on an email to me the other day. That was Tyne Tees television, early 60s, probably about 1963 or 4. And it was a series that I did for Tyne Tees television, and it was Northeast beat groups, of which the biggest was the Animals. And it was an interview with Eric Burden. That was used actually recently in a film. They got permission to use it. I can't remember what the film was called, but it was used in a film. I wish I still had the interview that I did with the Beatles.
Yeah, there's just one still of you with Brian Epstein.
Yeah,
That's all there is.
yeah. I
unfortunately.
mean, how remiss of that was me, of me, not to keep a shot of me with the Beatles. And of course, Jerry Marsden was on there as well, Jerry and the Pacemakers. And there is no video, as far as I know, that remains of ABC at Large. That was the program. And I think probably only the second interview that the Beatles ever did on television, very early in their career. They'd only had 2 hits, I think, Love Me Do and Please Please Me. And I had no idea that they were going to go on and be as big as they were. Later that year, I introduced them in concert, and tickets to see the Beatles, it's a story I'm always telling, were 10 shillings, 10 shillings
Yes.
to see the Beatles.
And I gather they had a makeshift dressing room, which was a shed or something, parked out in the car
Was it?
park. Yeah.
Was it? I'd forgotten that.
yeah.
Where did you get that from?
Well, there's a whole website.
Is
You'd be
there?
amazed
Yeah.
what you can find if you look
Yeah.
hard enough.
What
yeah.
I do remember, Noel, was that the show was done in a marquee.
Yes, that's right. And,
and
so
there
they
were-
had there were no facilities. So they
Well,
had to-
yeah, but also there was no security, and there were support acts like Brian Poole and the Tremolos. So I introduced all the support acts, and when I introduced the Beatles, the audience, who were teenage girls, stormed the stage. And I thought the marquee was going to collapse.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was great memories of the Beatles. And the following year, I worked with the Rolling Stones at the Palace Theatre, Manchester. And that was when I parked my car at the back of the theatre. Somebody thought it was Mick Jagger's car and scratched a love note on the bonnet. So for a week I was driving around with "I love you, Mick" on the bonnet of my car.
Yeah. You should have kept it. Too.
By the way, I think the respray cost me more than I got paid for doing the show.
Yeah, exactly. And if you hadn't resprayed it, imagine what it would be worth now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, it was a good little car, that,
Yeah.
the MGB.
Yeah.
Although I did have a nasty crash in it. But anyway, coming back to Boom, yes, it's been a tremendous success story, and I think David Lloyd, who is the head honcho, who's on the air before me, has said that his ambition is to get at least 1 million listeners. So we're, I think once people know about it and they listen to it, I think they really enjoy it. It's just a case of spreading the word, and we don't have the budgets that the big conglomerates have, like Global.
But it's word of mouth, and the more people tell more people,
Yes.
the nearer the million they will get.
Yes.
And I'm sure they'll get there, because there's got to be a hell of a lot more than 1 million baby boomers out there, a hell of a
Yeah.
lot more than 1 million people who currently have got nowhere to go, where they want to listen to the sort of
Nothing.
music that you play on your music show.
Abandoned simultaneously by Radio 2 and BBC Local Radio.
Yeah.
I mean, BBC Local Radio could have picked up so many of the people who are disenchanted by Radio 2. So they, it was David Lloyd and Phil Riley came along with the idea that they would do a station for baby boomers. All the advertisers, as we know, um, want young people, so
Yeah.
they've sort of torn up the mold in every way. The other way that they've broken the mold is by not playing the same limited playlist and the same
Yeah.
records over and over again.
Yeah.
So the people who've done it. Can you hear the rain?
Yes, and I think probably we're going to wind up. The weather is going to
No,
wind it up for us.
we're not getting wet because we've got a canopy, but
Yeah.
this is actually summer,
Yeah.
and wouldn't you know, sod's law, it's raining. You can probably hear it
Yeah.
in the background.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, it's been a great pleasure working for Broom. You know, in my career, I've worked for some really nice people, and I've worked for one or two not so nice people, which I think I put in my books.
Yes.
But these are as nice as they could be.
Yeah.
I had one boss that I worked for who used to say, not just to me, but to other people as well,
Yeah.
used to say, I heard your show today, what a strange way of handing in your notice. Whereas the people I'm working for now say every day, oh, sounding really great today, sounding really good.
Yeah.
And that's what everybody needs to hear.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it's all great, and it's lovely to catch up with everybody after 6 years, as I say.
Yeah.
And we're still here in the garden, and we're working towards those million listeners. I'm sure we're going to get there.
We
soon.
are, yes. I've also been doing a little bit of GB News because that's one of the new news channels. And I've been going in and reviewing the newspapers there. And I've got another one coming up fairly soon. But also, I was a guest of Mark Dolan the other night. I think you got the video of that.
Yeah, well, yeah, they put the shows out on YouTube, but yes, I did put it on the Hamilton Hotshots
He was so nice. I hadn't met him before. I watched his show beforehand, but you go into these things nowadays with a certain amount of trepidation because there's some people who want to slaughter you.
Well, he certainly didn't.
For some reason, he was just so nice.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I said to him afterwards, I said, thank you for being so nice. I said, some people want to slaughter you. And he said to me, I just don't get that. I don't see why people do it. But I've seen him again since. And I saw one this week with George Galloway, quite a controversial character.
Yeah.
He was doing the same thing that I
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
And again, Mark was so nice with him. So he's invited me back to be on his panel. So I'm going to do that soon, and I'm going to go in and be on the panel. But it's a bit of a hike for me because I'm down here in Sussex, and it's up in London. Doesn't sound far, but of course when I've been doing the paper reviews, I've been getting up at 3 in the morning because I had to get up at 3, leave at 4, and I drive up to London. They pick me up from Barnes, where I used to live, as you know, and with a cab, but they won't bring the cab all the way down here because I live outside the M25. So it's a bit of an early start, but again, Anne Diamond and Steve Dixon are such a joy to work with.
Yeah, and you all seem to gel so wonderfully.
Well, the last one I went in, we just had a complete boot. I was on with Dawn Neeson.
I know, she very kindly posted almost
did.
immediately after the show.
She did, yeah.
And because of my work, I couldn't see all of it. I managed to see the first instalment, if you
You
like.
better move forward a
Yeah.
bit. You got raindrops are falling on my head.
Drops are falling on my head.
Yeah.
But no, it's great, and it's wonderful to hear that you're going to be doing some more.
Yes, yeah, we're going to be doing some more. Yeah, I'm due in fairly soon. This will run for a while, so by the
Yeah.
time this has gone out, it probably will have been on again. But yeah, they were also, which I noticed, very, very generous about Boom. And considering that they are also a radio station, I thought that was very nice of them
Yeah,
to do
yeah,
that.
absolutely. Yeah, that's right. And Jeremy Vine the same last year when you were on
I know.
his Channel 5 programme.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
think that when you get older that people have become nicer to you?
Yeah, it could well be, yes.
Maybe they
yes.
feel sorry for you or something, you get a sort of sympathy vote.
Yes, it could well be. Yeah, there was
Yeah.
a character that
Bring
was,
it on if
there
that's
was
the case.
Magnus Pike. Do you remember? When he got older, he suddenly he was on everything. Do you remember
Yeah,
Magnus?
maybe
Yeah.
I'm sort of coming back
Yeah.
into fashion again,
Yeah.
like an
There's
old car.
another guy called Arthur Marshall.
Arthur
He
Marshall.
was on everything
Yeah.
as well.
But listen, think about cars. You have a car,
yeah.
then it becomes an old car. You don't want to know. It becomes an old banger. You don't want it anymore. But if you hang on long enough, it
Yeah.
becomes vintage.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm like, I hope I'm not an old banger.
No, I'm very, very much sure not, David.
No, no.
You are a national treasure, or so you should be.
I had a girlfriend that I used to call Treasure. She had a sunken chest.
Anyway, I think when HMQ has finished this platinum weekend, she should start thinking about the gong. Got to be coming your way
Well,
soon.
you know, Mrs. H, who is filming this as we speak, would very, very much like to be Lady Hamilton.
Yes.
And does feel rather let down that this hasn't happened up until
Yes.
now. So I wouldn't say this is
Yes.
dropping a hint exactly, but
No.
yeah.
Well, anyway,
Yeah.
she can look at
I'm not-
Nelson's column and feel that I am the second Lady Hamilton.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, Nelson's column. Yeah.
The innuendos are coming to
They
start.
are,
I think
they
we
are.
need to wind up, David.
They are, aren't they? I actually, can I just say that where it comes to the gong and all of that, I'm not holding my breath. You know,
Well,
I'm not holding my breath.
well, I don't know if there's any justice in this world.
When I
let's hope
started,
so.
when I started out in the business that I'm in, Bob Monkhouse called the business loosely known as show. That I wouldn't ever thought that I would have lasted this long and that I would have kept it going for over 60 years. I would never have thought of that. But the thought of getting any sort of gong would have been the last thing in my mind. I'm very happy, to be honest with you, to be working still, doing what I love doing, and getting sort of, you know, modestly paid for it, you know. So I wouldn't want to retire because I love. Why would you retire from a job you love?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think on that note. From Amber, who is the star of the show.
He's had enough rain. So I'll get Amber to say goodbye. Here's Amber saying bye-bye. Bye. Amber saying bye-bye. I shouldn't be on with Amber because she's a show stealer. Look. She's a head turner. Call her again.
Who is it? Who is it? Who is it? Where's Purdy? Where's Layla?
Where's Noel?
Where's Daddy? Daddy! Where's Daddy?
Where's Daddy?
I think Amber would say that's a wrap.
Oh! What a way to end the show.
Thanks for viewing, everyone.
Shall I stop?
You got enough, Noel?